Tonight, as we are about to begin this debate, a BSF Jawan has approached the nation from behind a camera to say, "Hame kuch nahi milta." Tonight, as we sit here and ready to give our opinions and arguments, a CRPF Jawan has told the country that he serves for that "Hamara dukh koi nahi samajhta." In fact, 3 months after a 26-year-old BSF Jawan, Gurnam Singh, lost his life after a bullet hit his head during cross-border firing, we saw Tej Bahadur Yadav, who showed us the dal made for lunch, which was nothing but salt and turmeric. Last year, ladies and gentlemen, 87 security personnel were killed in militantly related operations, highest in the last 8 years. And today we have a video evidence of those Jawans who serve us, protect us at the border, sacrifice their lives for us and in the interest of the nation, citing that they do not even get proper food. Is this what we give to our soldiers? Is this what we owe our soldiers? That's the issue of debate tonight. We have the hashtag Fight for Our Soldiers, and don't forget to tweet in and send your encouragement, because beyond encouragement, it seems these Jawans have nothing else to fall back upon. Joining us this evening, RP Singh, National Secretary of the BJP, EN Rammohan, former DG BSF, Major General Satbir Singh, member of the Indian Ex-Servicemen movement, Lieutenant General B.S. Jaswal, former Army Commander, Northern Command, Colonel Anil, Kaul, Defense Analyst, Global Counter-Terrorist Center, S.K. Sood, former Additional DG in the BSF, and Rajeev, Senior Leader and Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, all join us. Lieutenant General B.S. Jaswal, is this how we treat our Jawans? These Jawans who are doing their duty on the border. The minute the video came up, the only explanation that we first heard from the BSF was that this was an act of insubordination. This Jawan had done it in the past. He was a habitual complainer. The fact that he was also an alcoholic was something that was brought up. Then why give him such a sensitive high altitude forward location? Why all these faults only when he made that video and attracted the attention of the seniors of this country to the appalling conditions in which they live? Is this how we treat our Jawans? Will we actually do character assassination before we look at the issues that have been raised by our Jawans?
First of all, this Jawan has definitely violated the chain of command. There is a system wherein you complain to the authority. If he's not listened to over there, then he can approach the next level, and definitely the issue will be addressed. I can assure you, there was a BSF company when I was commanding a battalion. Their food was very good. I know it because I used to go to that company. I don't want to say where exactly it was because of security reasons. There are 3-4 parameters which are always addressed, whether it is BSF, CRPF or the army. One is pay, leave, religious feeling, and of course food. I would like to highlight that while deployed on pickets, there is something called post-cooking, because you cannot bring in food from the central langar where a cook is authorized. When the post-cooking takes place, this happens in the army also. Now a boy from the post itself, he does the cooking. Obviously, since he is not a good cook, he cannot produce the kind of food which may ideally be desired by anyone. To say that, all over the CRPF or BSF, this kind of a thing is there, or in the army, sorry, it's totally wrong. I am speaking with a lot of conviction. It is a localized problem. General Sahab, and I won't be surprised if these two Jawans have a psychological problem.
General Sahab, are you trying to say, sir, General Sahab, with due respect, are you trying to say that there is no malpractice that is indulged in these battalions and within the CRPF or within the BSF? Is every time when a Jawan comes out and cries out against injustice, why is it always blamed on indiscipline? Why is there no merit given to the complaint? What interest does this Jawan have of putting out a video and he's saying, appealing to the Prime Minister, this is what I'm getting to eat? How is it that the first reaction, sir, is to discredit the Jawan? Why is that the first reaction? And how is that fair?
No, I am not discrediting the Jawan. I'm trying to highlight the system in that if the local level, if there's it failed, then of course the local leadership over there is responsible. Now to say that people are corrupt and they sell everything, I think, sorry, the man has to prove it. And let me tell you, I've also sat in a position of authority. I used to get a lot of anonymous complaints. And where it was verifiable, I did verify. And couple of places it was totally false or exaggerated. I'm speaking with conviction. It's not.
But Colonel Anil Kaul, should the issue that has been highlighted by the Jawan not be looked at all? Are we only going to look at discipline issues in this case, not the apathy, not the conditions that these Jawans live in, not the fact that the dal is actually turmeric and water and salt in it? I mean, that is also something that needs to be looked in. Why did the BSF first reaction be that discredit the Jawan, say that he is somebody who's an alcoholic, has been used to insubordination in the past, without giving any credence? If he was such a bad apple in your basket of apples, why post him in the area that you did choose for him?
Navika, with due respect to all the senior officers on your panel, I think I seem to be the junior most chap around here. Firstly, I think we've dragged this over the coals and it is time that we called a stop to the media trial. This will lead to a lot of unsavory incidents and bad precedents across the uniformed forces. Having said that, the point you made is very valid. The visuals are too obvious and therefore there is a need to investigate what went wrong, whether it was a supply issue or whether it was an administrative issue. General Jaswal has cleared or covered the administrative issue. Whether it was made at the base of that company or at the post, that is a moot point, and therefore the nuances of a healthy food as cooked in a proper langar may not be there, but that can be investigated. If the supply is a problem, then the unit, the brigade or the formation which is responsible for the supply, there somebody needs to be kicked.
Right.
So therefore investigation is a must.
Yes.
The other issues which you have brought out are extraneous and those are trying to hide behind a fig leaf, which I think are rather inappropriate.
No, sir, there are two aspects.
Investigation must be done as to why it went wrong.
Colonel Saab, very right. And the point is that it's not that sometimes it is important for us to stand up, and just like we celebrate and salute the Jawans of the country, we also have to stand up and say, is everything being right? Are they being treated right? Is everything going on right? And if there is something that's going on wrong, that has to be addressed. Whether it pulls out, whether more skeletons tumble out of the closet, well, if there are skeletons, they will tumble out. I'm just going to go across to SK Sood, the former additional DG of the BSF. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Sood. Sir, my first question to you, sir, is this is what the Jawan said today. He says, if they are going to punish me, or if they believe that I was an alcoholic, why did they reward me 14 times? They are given only to good men and good soldiers, right? So why did they reward me 14 times is a question that he asked. And then he is also telling us, sir, today when he spoke to us, that his phone has been confiscated. He is speaking from inside a toilet and he is afraid of what is going to happen to him. They will again accuse me of drinking. I will be thrown out of the service. Why don't they bring everything out in the open? This is the Jawan's concern. Yes, he blew the whistle. Yes, there was insubordination. As far as the defense system or the code of conduct, the services code of conduct is concerned, as General Jaswal said, he broke the line. But why should this person be subjected to this kind of treatment? Is that fair, sir? Because then you have your doubts.
The Jawan is not being subjected to this kind of condition, as has been proved by your correspondent himself, who spoke with the Jawan for at least 5 minutes, which I saw on your own television channel. He spoke with him for 5 minutes. He spoke also with his wife. So he has not been subjected to any restriction. And
no.
where is
so what he said was
him to hide?
What he said was he said I am talking to you from a toilet. Sorry for the interruption. And he said I'm talking to you from a toilet, and I'm quoting what he told us. I have made an excuse to go to the toilet. I'll be thrown out of the service. He says, I have a request. My phone has been confiscated. So obviously he's talking from some other phone, some other line. That's what he has conveyed.
But has this been confirmed that he was talking from a friend's telephone? How did he manage to get the telephone inside the toilet? That is one. So what he is saying that he has been placed under restrictions is all humbug. It is not correct. Where is the space in a 50 by 50 yards post where 50 men live for him to hide and carry on with this kind of conversation? So this is not correct. As regards food part is concerned, yes, there could be some local level problems there, some local administrative issues may be there, but saying that this is a general thing, it is not correct. As has been brought out by General Jaswal, there could be post problem. There may not be a regular cook who is doing the cooking, so he may have faltered in cooking the dal. But at the same time, I am constrained to point out that there is another utensil besides the dal, which is well sprinkled with condiments, which looks quite nourishing. Nobody is talking of that. If he was being given such bad food, he wouldn't be healthy. He wouldn't be attired with the proper winter kit, which I think speaks of proper administration in the unit. It could be a local problem, one day's problem, or a problem where the cook has not been available and somebody else has cooked the food, and therefore the dal could not be properly.
Okay, let's take this to the politicians on the panel. Mr. R.P. Singh, National Secretary of the BJP, let me ask you this question. The CRPF has submitted a report to the 7th Pay Commission in which they make the following points. They say, if a Jawan gets hit by a bullet during operations in Chhattisgarh, the nearest hospital is about 450 kilometers away. What are the chances of a survival of somebody who's got a bullet injury if you have to take them to a hospital which is 450 kilometers away? In fact, they say the nearest railway station is about 98 kilometers away. In an emergency situation, is this the way we will treat? The basic point that we are trying to say is, yes, discipline in the armed forces, discipline in the paramilitary forces is an important issue, and nobody is taking away the importance of discipline in these forces. But the question is, some of these issues that have highlighted the abominable conditions in which these Jawans live, don't they require regular checks and balances in place from the higher authorities? Because that is what our Jawan does. He actually secures the border on an empty stomach. If that's true, then aren't we as an entire country responsible to hang our heads in shame if that's the way our Jawan is living?
Okay, Navika, let me start like this. You can't paint the complete paramilitary and army with that single brush. I can accept that there can be issue at a local level and which need to be addressed, and that's why immediate inquiry was ordered. And not only inquiry, I mean a team of dietitians was also being sent along to check what sort of food is being given, whether it's nourishing good food or not, is nourishing enough or not, and also the Prime Minister office is directly handling the inquiry, and the our Defence Minister also said that he looked into the matter personally. But Navika, if there is a problem, that's not that it has just recently happened. I mean, it has been inherited by us, and now since it has come in force, so obviously the government has taken control of the situation and is going to take cognizance of the problem and ensure that yes, proper inquiry happens, no one is being penalized for bringing the issue to the fore, and after that whatever corrective path has to be taken will be taken. I can reassure you for this.
No, but is this also a case, Sardar R.P. Singh, as I bring in Ian Rammohan, former DG BSF? Sir, this is another aspect that comes to light. The para forces and the Jawans there, are they so overworked and are they so malnourished and poorly fed that this seems to be a malaise across, sir? Is this Jawan an exception to the rule, or is this something that largely a lot of the Jawans are facing on ground but nobody talks about? Is it true or not? Then he alleges that army food, rations for the army are found in the open market because the procurement managers, and somewhere in between there is corruption involved. Mr. Rammohan, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Audio.
Mr. Rammohan, can you hear me?
There's a little problem in the audio.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Can you hear me
yes,
now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, so is this
Yes, yes.
is this a rampant problem? Because there is 75
Yes, yes.
CRPF Jawans lost their lives to the worst Maoist attack in the history of of the nation in 2010, and cut to 2017, reports from the same Chhattisgarh suggest that their food conditions too are far from the good, given to most of the times the Jawans have to survive on dal chawal and aloo for days and days. So this dal chawal, jali hui roti and aloo and poor food, especially in very, very adverse conditions, is this a norm across the para forces, sir? Yes, Mr. Rammohan, go ahead, please.
Audio is gone again. Yes. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, sir, make your point.
I was 7 years in the BSF from 93 to 2000. And I have been IG BSF in Kashmir in a very difficult period. I have seen the BSF perform there. I was IG operations for 2 years, and I have travelled along almost all of India's borders. One thing is very sacred to the Jawan, that is his langar. And generally, during my whole tenure of 7 years, I never received a complaint about bad food in any langar in any battalion. That doesn't mean that there has not been a case in this particular incident. It is quite possible that the company commander is not supervising the langar properly, and so bad food has been served. The particular constable has made a lot of allegations, and a good inquiry should be conducted to find out what is the truth in this case. Is the constable somewhere defensively making allegations against the force, or is it that really there has been some problem? If there is some real problem, then the CO of the battalion is not supervising, the company commander is not supervising his langar properly, and action must be taken accordingly. But generally, my 7 years in BSF, I never got any complaint about any wrong administration, at least as far as the langar was concerned. There were other complaints about BSF constables, but not this.
Major General Satbir Singh, the CRPF Jawan today, Jeet Singh, who put out a second video, the second one in the last space of 4 days, he actually says that they don't have facilities as well. No facilities of any rations, they don't have facilities of pension. Do these CRPF personnel who actually serve in some of the most important areas have to be continuously discriminated when it comes to pensions, when it comes to other amenities? Of course, the Pay Commission has looked at the OROP and all of those issues and not found it fit to really look at the demands of the paramilitary forces in comparison with the Indian Army. But don't you think some sort of a system to look at their demands as well is required when only the armed forces are being looked at by the government?
And Navika, question well asked. First of all, I would like to say that our Jawans of all types of forces are the best in the world. Second issue which I want to say is the roles of each one of us is different. However, what is happening about the logistics, it's a function of command. It's a function of leadership at all levels. And therefore, if in this particular case, something which is not served properly as far as the food is concerned, many of the panelists have just mentioned that in their lives, like I have done 40 years in the defense forces, there is a system in which the food is checked. Just now, General Jaswal told you all that when he was army commander, he even went and checked up all the foods whenever he visited the post over there. So, all this is very much laid out drills and procedures. In this particular case, if something has gone wrong like this, Firstly, it is a function of command and needs to be addressed. Now, the second issue is about CRPF Jawan. I personally feel there also, if there are any difference in the service conditions or one authorized another, I am sure it has been looked at by the government. I am sure the CRPF heads have put up these issues, and if they have not been addressed adequately, they must be addressed so that the man who asks nothing and gives his last ounce of blood without counting anything in return must be gone into details and ensure that we have the best motivated person to give his life and face the bullet as we all do for the nation so that the nation sleeps well. So therefore, all services must be looked into in the conditions they serve, and each one of us form the lower function of command right up to the government. Now at this stage, if the Prime Minister has to intervene, I think that's not the place where it should be looked at. It has to be done at the respective places. Otherwise, I don't think so. We'll
No,
be
but
able
there is
to
a malice,
execute
Major General
a
Satbir
real-
Singh. Sir, as I'm reading the facts tonight, and Colonel Anil Kaul wanted to make a point, but as I'm reading the facts tonight, let's just put this out. In 2014, diseases killed more CRPF Jawans than Maoists did. Now, according to data by the Home Ministry, 95 CRPF men died due to diseases. Now, how shameful is that? A Jawan who does his job in one of the most difficult areas in the country, fights Naxals, even loses his life, does not even have proper medical facilities. Then, from 2005 to 2014,
Anand, you're right,
6,000 CRPF Jawans were injured and 600 men lost their lives in action. 88% of the personnel do not even
You're
get
right.
family accommodation. Now, this is what a nation does for them, slightly
said
close
you're
to...
right,
Now,
Anand.
is that even slightly close to what they do for the country? So, more importantly, they live in subhuman conditions. There, they don't even have basic facilities
So
like
therefore,
water,
it is a
electricity, even a
function of
toilet.
command again.
Report submitted by the CRPF.
It is a
50% of
I am
them live
sure
in
it is a
huts
function of
without
command
any
again.
personal privacy whatsoever. So they guarantee us privacy, they guarantee us safety, security, and the ability to sleep on our beds and have a cushy night's sleep and a cozy night's sleep. But they don't have their own privacy. They are out there in the heat and cold. So what are we doing? So are these things that we turn a blind eye to, saying, oh, they are Jawans, that's how they're supposed to be. It's a life of hardship, so it's given to them.
Anand, you are right. If anything is wrong, it must be rectified. And that's how it's a function of command. We have a system, right from the section commander up to the Chief of Army Staff and Naval Staff and Air Force. Similarly, in all other services, this must be there. But if there is any lapse, it must be gone into.
No,
Otherwise, the
sir,
system
my
must
point is, Rajeev Rai, as I bring you into the debate, my point is when it comes to the bureaucracy, when it comes to the babus, when it comes to all of them, they ensure that they get the best. They get all the perks. Why is it that out of 2,140 locations in the BSF, land at 582 locations has not been acquired for family satisfaction? Is it fair for those who give up comfortable family life for the nation that they don't even get a home for their families while on duty? So many questions, Rajeev Rai. And when one of these Jawans puts out a video, the other one makes a speech and says, give us the same benefits like you give to the army. Is that indiscipline? Is that insubordination? Or is this just a manifestation of what they are going through day in and day out to keep us safe?
Anand, I am totally in agreement with your statement. I just don't want to get into this procedural lapses or whether it is discipline. It is a matter for the armed forces and bosses there to look into. As a common man, what could be more disturbing, distressful, painful and heartbreaking than this? That in a country where our in parliament, assemblies, MP, MLAs, ministers, bureaucrats, they get subsidized food, even at one location, even at few hundred or few dozens of the locations, or Jawans that do not get proper food, I mean, it is shameful for all of us. And just we cannot make a foo-foo of that on procedural lapses and keep it under carpet and saying, no, everything is all right. For me, when I don't know whether he has followed chain of command, whether he has followed procedure or not, for me it is, what a pathetic condition where our Jawan has to come, and we are talking about investigation. The other Jeet Singh, when he makes complaints to the Prime Minister that they do not get medical facility, do not get pension facility, they do not get so many other facilities. What is there to investigate? Does government not know that these facilities are not given to them? For us, if we cannot respect our soldiers, we cannot protect them, we cannot take care of them, I think it is, nothing can be more disgusting than this. And I appeal from your, through your channel, that if there is a little self-respect, little love and respect for our soldiers, let tomorrow onward our MPs, MLAs, bureaucrats stop taking subsidized food, and salute to those armed forces, salute to our Jawans. Even in that such a pathetic condition they are serving our nation. Whatever we can do, that will be less. We cannot say everything is done properly. If everything was all right, this whole story would not have come out today.
Colonel Anil Kaul, you know, when these Jawans raise this issue, the issue is, should Jawans be questioned or should officials go and find out what's going to happen, you know, what's really happening with the Jawans? The real problem is suffered by the Jawans on the ground. So why should the investigation be actually done by some senior officers? Why should the government seek reports from senior officers and people in charge? They are not going to tell you what's really happening on the ground. It's on the ground that checks need to be done, surprise checks need to be done. There needs to be a system in place, Colonel Kaul. You can't just have officers and seniors sitting and making a decision on whether there was insubordination or whether the person was an alcoholic or not. You need surprise checks and checks on the ground where these incidents are really being reported from. Ask the Jawans, don't ask the officers.
Navika, before I answer your question, I'd like to put a record straight for these viewers. Number one, these are not paramilitary forces. They are central armed police forces. There is a big difference. And the difference is the officered by the Army, Navy or Air Force are paramilitaries. Those officered by the IPS or their own cadre of BSF or CRPF are central armed police forces. Now that is the big difference, which brings me to the answer of your question. The question is that how many of their officers, and I didn't want to bring this up at this time as an argument between the armed forces and others, but unfortunately this question has come up. How many of their officers actually go down to the ground level? Unfortunately, no. That is where the problem lies. As far as investigation is concerned, as far as procedures are concerned, they are well laid out procedures. In this case, knowing the procedure, there will not be an inquiry by the local formation. There will be an inquiry from outside the formation. Somebody from outside will come there and do the investigation, and each man-jack who is witness to all this will be questioned and a proper document prepared. Nobody will go away past history.
No.
What happened earlier is history, and that has got no relevance to the present complaint.
Lieutenant General B.S.
And
Jaswal,
that is the procedure. Besides what General Satbir said, it is a command.
Why do we
it's
only
a command
look
function.
at these
Navika, hold on.
central armed
Navika,
forces
hold on.
or the paramilitary forces, as we are want to call them? Why should there be so much disparity between them and the army Jawans? Because after all, there is parity in the kind of duty they do. Yes, nobody is saying take away the army Jawans' position
I'm
away
sorry,
from it.
I'm
We
sorry.
salute our armed
I'm sorry,
forces.
Navika.
But the
I'm
question
sorry,
is
Navika.
paramilitary forces also
Anil,
do
can I
live
just
in
answer?
very, very difficult circumstances and do a job that's extremely difficult. Shouldn't their demands and shouldn't their pay scales, their leaves, all of these issues be looked at also by the government and other senior people who are looking after this entire issue?
No. Navika, let me tell you, let's not
Navika,
get into
by
that,
all means, change their terms and
angle of
conditions.
comparison, please. Yeah, exactly. I was coming to that, Anil. You see, the terms and conditions of service are totally different between the army and the Central Armed Police Forces, very correctly described by Anil, what a PMF is and what CRPF is. Now, you see the medical, simple thing, one of the questions that Span had raised, that, in panel hospitals are there. We have contributed for the ECHS. Our organization has created that fund. And they has accordingly be taking care. And let me tell you, when an issue is raised, inquiry is inherent in it. And someone like Anil itself will come from outside, and let me tell you, things are not put under the carpet. The best things is, let the department carry out and handle it. Let's not hype it at this level.
No,
let's
why,
not
sir?
compare
Why, sir?
army versus...
Why, sir? Loss of life? Sir,
Okay,
General Sahab, with due respect...
No, just a second. I'll give you the figures.
General Sahab,
I will give you the figures.
When they fight, when they fight, when they are in an operation together, when the BSF, CRPF, CISF or the army, when they are all together in an operation, do they say, all right, we'll choose based on what our roles are and what our designations are and what our chain of command is, that I will take the bullet, you will not take the bullet, I'll hide behind here and I'll fight there. We'll fight according to what our cadre is and what our whether we are para forces, police forces, or we are army. No, they don't, sir. They fight.
Anand,
they fight as security forces, General Sahab. They're all lives. They're all Jawans for us.
Anand.
Absolutely.
So why should there be a difference, sir? Why should there be a difference in the way they are considered and the way they are treated?
No. I'm not saying for once that their interest should not be taken into account. For instance, they are saying that I saw the whole video, that the martyr status is not given to us. There's no such word as martyr. Killed in action is the one. And the same remunerations are given to them by the state and by the center when a person dies in action. Martyr is just a word, of course, being expressed out of sheer respect, but it is killed in action. I am not saying that the sacrifices are not to be honored. Highly, they have performed extremely well. Let me tell you, they have performed extremely well. But, you see, if you start comparing the pay, when does the Jawan retire? When does the CRPF or the BSF boy retire? He retires at 55. The Jawan retires at 34. And let me tell you, since the army has been there, the system has been there for very long. So we have echelons, administrative echelons, which takes care of all the administrative requirements. BSF, which was the erstwhile the Crown, what they call reserve force, that became in 1968. CRPF, BSF became that out of the border guards and the provincial constabulary or something in 68. But the Crown Reserve Police forces rather became the CRPF. Our system has been more systematic and more focused on certain things. They have got excellent leaders, but what happens is, the battalion is at one place, two companies are deployed 600 kilometers away.
Sir,
the command and control is not there.
There has to be a problem somewhere, General B.S. Jaswal. There has to be a problem somewhere, because according to a reply to the Parliament in 2012, and let me take that question to Mr. Rammohan. Mr. Rammohan, in 2012, it was given in a reply to Parliament that the BSF had the highest attrition rates amongst the paramilitary forces. And how you have a complaint now coming in from a BSF Jawan. The question that we are asking is there a problem that's deeper, that, what Tej Bahadur has said is probably just a symptom that he is pointed out to? Is there a deeper malaise in the entire system in the way the BSF is functioning? Because it does face the highest attrition rate.
I don't think so.
That's the Parliament stated fact. It's a fact stated on the floor of the House by the then Defence Minister, stating this fact on the floor of the House in 2012.
You are asking me.
Let Mr. Rammohan, Rammohan.
Yes, yes, Mr. Rammohan.
Yeah, no. You see, the attrition rate in the BSF is the highest. I am not aware of it. I am 7 years in the BSF from 93 to 2000. And I have told repeatedly that I have travelled, I was IG operations for 2 years and I have covered most of the borders of where the BSF was operating, was deployed. In the BSF, the tradition is that the BSF platoon post or company post langar is sacred, and the food has always been considered to be good. I never saw a single complaint about any langar not functioning properly in my 7 years in the BSF.
Sir, it's not just about the food.
Most of the
Mr.
BOPs
Rammohan, it's not about the food. What we are saying is that this video that has come out,
no, it's not.
Is it trying to also, is it just a manifestation of the frustrations of the Jawan on ground, sir? That's what we are trying to understand. It's not just, you might just say it's a local issue, it's just that one of those days that when he's got horrible food, but the fact is that when he's looking at that food, is what coming to his mind is, why am I going through all this when nobody considers me? Is this what the Jawan thinking on ground, saying I am there to put my life on line even before my officers are, and nobody thinks about me? So, I'm with due respect, I'm asking you this question because we are given to understand that they lead a nomadic life. 24/7, 365 pattern, there is no time for duty. 12 hours, 14 hours can become 18 hours, 24 hours, you go 2-3 days without sleep, and then what you get is no respect. What you get is no parity in pay. What you get is no parity in comparison to the other forces. And then you see, I am doing the same job as them, I am there guarding your borders, but then why is it that maximum number of BSF Jawans are opting for VRS? Why is it that there is such a high attrition rate? There must be something which is not right, sir. That's what we're trying to understand.
No, the only reason, life in the BSF is difficult. There is no doubt about it. You are deployed on the borders and it is tough. It's not easy. But I have not heard of any place where the BSF man is not looked after properly. In my 7 years there. There are other complaints about the BSF, not about the langar. I have never faced this complaint.
What are the other complaints that you've heard?
Of course, in the BSF, there is no doubt about it.
No.
And if there is an attrition rate...
Anand, I want to comment on this.
Well...
Yes, is there a perception?
No comparison on this.
No, and Mr. Sood, come in on the debate, sir. Mr. Sood, please come in on the debate along with General Jaswal. Is there this feeling that there is no parity? Is this feeling that we are all standing there, say, facing the same hail of bullets, but then there is no parity and the Jawan feels inferior?
Yes.
And is this the manifestation that's coming forth, sir? And if that is the case, it has to be addressed because our Jawans can't be made to feel inferior.
I will answer this, but before that, I'll reply to a comment made by Colonel Kaul. He says that we are CP, Central Armed Police Forces. But I can tell you that our act says, BSF Act says that we are a Central Armed Force. We are not a Central Armed Police Force. We are a Central Armed Force. That having been said, the other point that he made was that officers of the force do not stay at the post. Officers of the post, BSF, always stay at the post. The company commander stays at post, and till the time they become 2IC, their life mostly is at post, except when they are posted as adjutant and quartermaster. So that is a wrong impression that we must not go away with from here. Insofar as parity is concerned, about 20 battalions of BSF are deployed on LC along with Army. And the difference in pay is almost 25% if you include the PMSP that an Army Jawan gets. 25% for performing the same task, performing 25% difference, BSF Jawan gets less for performing duties at the same place.
Exactly.
The Baramulla encounter happened, the BSF Jawan died. It was a combined camp of RR and BSF. The BSF Jawan gets much less compensation than an Army Jawan. He doesn't get pension. After 2004, his pension has been stopped. There are other issues. I think we have been spending too much time on that food video.
No, we are moving to the larger issues. I'm trying to bring out the larger issues. Mr. Sood, please speak out.
Important. Yeah, I'm speaking out. The other video of CRPF Jawan raises many more serious questions. It is the whole human resource policies of these organizations which are faulty. You see, a Jawan doesn't get promotion even after 22 years of service. An officer of the organization gets to become a second in command by the time he is middle-aged, 45 years old officer. And that too has happened only now with a faulty cadre review which has led to proliferation of ranks, destroying the structure of the entire unit. So there are differences, and the government must look into the human rights policies of these organizations. The disconnect happens because these organizations are not commanded by their own cadre officers. Outsiders come, they are transients mostly, with very honorable exception of Mr. Rammohan, who is on the panel, and some others whom I have known. They are not able to project the cases of these organizations strongly to the government, whereas army with its well-established machinery is able to project its case.
Important point being raised, Mr. R.P. Singh, as
I
a
would like
party
to
that
come
is
in, Navika.
government. Yes, General Satbir Singh, quickly make
Navika,
your
I
point
would like
before
to
I take this question to
Yeah.
R.P. Singh.
Yeah,
Yes, General
I just want to say we have started getting into a discussion which is narrow, that comparing one to another. Well, there are two things to be clarified. First is that as per the constitutional given definition, there is an armed forces which is Army, Air Force and Navy, and there are other armed forces which are called the CPOs. So therefore, let's be clear. In case we want to call anything differently, please have the amendments made. Second is about the conditions. Service conditions are being governed under the rules of the government. If there are disparities, if there is a different demand, please come back. There are government procedures to look into. But
That's the point we are making, General Satbir Singh. That's the point we are taking to R.P. Singh. R.P. Singh, your government may have looked at OROP, your government may have looked at the issues of the armed forces, but have we left for too long looking at the issues of the central paramilitary of outfits as well? They also have issues that need addressing. Do you think the government is leaving it too far?
It must be done.
Do you think you can give an assurance on this channel to all the Jawans who are actually fighting to keep us secure borders? Tonight, can you give them an assurance that the government will look into these issues, not only of the issues of indiscipline and the issues of why these Jawans have spoken out of tone, but actually at the issues that they have highlighted and the discrimination that exists between these forces and the armed forces?
Navika, you are a very learned panel today, and they will accept that. See, all forces are different, like CRPF, BSF, Army. I mean, they have their own service rule. People who join them, they know what forces they are joining and under what service rule they have to work. So let's not mix up all three together. I mean, we are trying to mix up a lot of things. One. Secondly, we know that 2004 their pensions were stopped, and government is already looking into the matter. How and what can be revived. And as for this specific issue which has been raised by Jawan on the food part, government has already ordered an inquiry, and I'm sure the inquiry will bring out the proper result into it, and then whatever had to be rectified will be rectified. But let's not paint the complete army or complete forces or paramilitary forces or BSF or CRPF with the same brush. Again, it can be a localized issue which need to be tackled with and to be taken care. And if it's there at a bigger level, then even then
let me tell you this, sir, with due respect to all the members of the panel and also to you, Sardar R.P. Singh, when those coffins come back, sir, when those coffins come back and when people tweet and when people say we salute the nation's martyrs, nobody thinks of them as army, BSF, CRPF or any other. They all think of them as the nation's soldier. So if tonight there is a voice that is emanating from the Jawans that they are feeling let down, they are not getting the support that they want, they are not in terms of food, in terms of equipment, in terms of conditions, in terms of what's happening with their families, if there is a concern, it has to be addressed, because they are the ones, sir, who are ready to take the hail of bullets in front of for the country and for us. They don't at that point in time think that I am not army, I am not armed forces, I am police, I am this, so I will wait. Let them take the bullets. They don't do that, sir. They put their hand up there, they put their chest out there and say, fire at me, because I'll fire back at you and I'll make sure you don't enter my soil. That's what they do. And for those Jawans and JCOs, if we are offering a voice and if there is a platform which says address our grievances, this is the platform. Tonight we have spoken to the officers, we have spoken to a very learned panel, but as we continue this fight for our soldiers, we will also encourage the Jawans and the JCOs and the ORs, the ex-servicemen, to come out and speak and highlight the issue so that the government can listen. Because if the government is listening, let's make those voices heard, sir. Let's make those voices heard. Let's put out the real issues, because it's beyond dal and roti. It's beyond dal and roti. Dal and roti are just the highlight. They're just showing up what is the reality. This is perhaps a reflection. This video is not a stray case. This is perhaps the tipping point when the Jawan says, give me the respect that I deserve.
Anand, just to conclude, Anand, let no Jawan actually say that हमारा दुख कोई नहीं समझता इस देश में हमारा दुख कोई नहीं समझता. Let no Jawan come out and say that. On that note, I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us here on Fight for Our Soldiers, debate number 2 on the NEWHOUR tonight.